Sincero Consulting presents your GMP Minute with Kevin Wall. Today's episode covers a Pharmaceutical Quality System Dashboard for virtual pharmaceutical companies. Pharmaceutical quality systems have become the norm in the industry. The QMS is the new current in cGMP. Virtual pharmaceutical companies have a unique challenge. I use the term owner of manufacturing as defined by the 2016 FDA Guidance Contract Manufacturing Arrangement for Drugs Quality Agreements. The owner is the entity contracting out activities to contract manufacturing organizations, CMOs. They are responsible for ensuring the overall compliance of their supply chain. They can outsource most everything, except for the responsibility. Health authorities hold them responsible. The business model leads to 4 key questions. What duties to outsource? What is needed in my quality system? How do I know what I need from my suppliers? How do I effectively manage my suppliers? In my article, Pharmaceutical Quality System Dashboard, 3 Ways to Drive Effectiveness, I introduced the concept of a Pharmaceutical Quality System Dashboard applicable for drug-device combination products. I will now discuss applying the dashboard to a virtual company. The dashboard helps ensure all regulatory requirements are covered by the owner. The owner defines the exact duties they retain and which are outsourced and to whom. The dashboard is different for each firm because each firm has unique needs. Strategic decisions on what to outsource must be carefully considered in light of the internal resources of the owner. Moreover, the owner must take into account not only their strengths and weaknesses, but those of their suppliers as well. The owner must understand the gaps in their supply chain and then decide the best way to close them. There are really only 2 options in closing the gaps. 1, the supplier gets the resource to close the gap. 2, the owner hires the resource to close the gap either by permanent or contract hire. Be sure to click the subscribe button so you do not miss an episode. The dashboard for a real virtual pharma company is presented in Figure 1. In the example, the owner has no development, laboratory, or manufacturing facilities of their own. Moreover, the owner has no warehousing or distribution of their own. Each of these is outsourced. Regulatory requirements surrounding facilities, equipment, testing, and manufacturing execution are outsourced and marked in blue in the dashboard. The Quality Assurance Agreement will define these activities to be within the scope of the contractor. The QMS elements colored green are those in which the owner will carry some direct control and need a quality system to match. The owner has several key decisions to make and include 1. How does the owner want to maintain control of the specifications and associated analytical methods? Will they be in their document system or the contractor's? How will the owner ensure the entire supply chain operate off the same version? For example, the laboratory doing stability is different from the CMO releasing the drug product. 2. How does the owner plan to review the executed batch records? Who will issue the certificate of analysis? How will the owner communicate release? 3. How does the owner control the content and versions of the label? Who generates the final copy? 4. The requirements surrounding computer systems deal with software the owner intends to use to fulfill cGMP requirements. 5. How does the owner plan to manage change within the supply chain? In particular, when a change involves more than one contractor. If a change is initiated by contractor A, how does the owner ensure contractor B is in alignment? 6. Even though the owner does not have distribution facilities, their quality unit needs to define how the owner maintains control of the inventory. How is material put on hold and taken off of hold? How will the owner execute a stock pullback or a recall? Each of the subsystem elements has similar decisions to be made. The guide that accompanies the dashboard delineates each cGMP requirement for each subsystem element. Some firms use their quality manual to define specific duties that are largely outsourced and where owner actions are limited. For subsystems that are more involved, specific SOPs or work instructions are developed to define the owner's practice. The key is to build a system that allows for phase-appropriate cGMP. The requirements change significantly from Phase 1 to the end of Phase 3. The owner should allow enough flexibility in their system and have the appropriate hooks to tie into their CMO. For example, analytical validation of the API at Phase 1 will likely not include any of the intermediate steps. More than likely, the Phase 1 synthesis route will be greatly modified if not completely redone in later phases. In contrast, Phase 3 validation will include all intermediates and will have markers for the impurities synthesized. The other system elements vary with phase as well. The level of detail in the batch records will vary differently by phase, as will the level of investigation on deviations. Change control after the process is locked and after the registration campaign becomes more involved than in earlier phases. The danger several firms have is waiting too late to get their systems defined. The risk is playing catch-up because key elements have fallen between the cracks. Be sure to download the Pharmaceutical QMS Dashboard Guide. It contains the drug regulations, device regulations, ICH-Q7 and ICH-Q10 mapped to the FDA 6 systems for pharmaceutical quality. Click the subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss a GMP Minute.